My husband, 57 meters, does not accept my son's, 28F, interracial marriage. Hi Reddit. I'm using a throwaway account for obvious reasons. Also please note that this will definitely trigger some people as it contains some distressing content. For the last 3.5 years my son has been dating a smart, intelligent, friendly young woman who just happens to be black. They are clearly devoted to one and another, and I have never seen him more happy. Together, their relationship seems like every other passionate, functional, and loving relationship. They are both well-educated, hard-working people. Recently, my son has brought up the topic of engagement with us, and my husband does not approve of it. This is all because she is black. Not only is this causing relationship problems between me and my husband, my son is also beginning to distance himself from us. My husband didn't seem to disapprove of the relationship when it started, but since the talk of engagement came up, he has become increasingly racist and disapproving of their relationship. Just yesterday, he gave me a 50-page booklet outlining all the crimes statistics that interracial people commit, differences in intelligence, IQ, higher divorce rates, how and why miscegenation is detrimental. Obviously at this point, I was just completely shocked and disgusted. The last couple of days has just been argument over argument, and I'm just getting nowhere with him. He claims that he is not racist, but says things like, miscegenation with blacks destroys the evolutionary process and how racial differences are based on fact and evidence. Personally, I completely agree with my son that he should marry whoever he loves and loves in return. I've been talking with my son and he says that he wants nothing to do with his father anymore. All this aside, my heart just breaks for my son's partner. I feel she has things hard enough during these times. This is literally tearing my family apart. I'm just so exhausted and afraid. I was just hoping that somebody here may have had similar experiences and could offer some advice. Too long didn't read. Husband does not approve of my son's interracial marriage. This is causing the family to break apart. Any constructive advice is appreciated. If my husband handed me a 50-page racist manifesto because our child loved someone of another race, he wouldn't be my husband much longer. I mean, I think you know what you need to do here. Be clear with your husband that nobody buys his "I'm not racist, but" bullshit, and that the only couple he's in danger of splitting up here is him and you, because you don't want to be married to a racist. Did you really not have any clue he was like this before now? He gave me a 50-page booklet outlining all the crimes statistics that interracial people commit, differences in intelligence, IQ, higher divorce rates, how and why miscegenation is detrimental. Miscegenation with blacks destroys the evolutionary process and how racial differences are based on fact and evidence. This is hate-filled racism and is disgusting. It's when I would file for divorce. Your son and his GF will never trust your husband again, and they shouldn't. Do you honestly see them subjecting children they may have to him ever? This isn't a difference of opinion or a lack of education. This is racism that is deeply ingrained. Where did he even get the 50-page booklet? He says he's not a racist but knows where to get booklets about why races shouldn't mix. I have no idea where one would get something like that, and it never crossed my mind to look. You said your son was distancing himself from us, meaning you also. You may have told your son that you support his relationship, but if you stay with your husband he will never fully believe you. What if they end up having kids? Are you willing to have a distanced relationship with your grandkids in order to stay with your racist husband? Let this situation tear apart your marriage and then take the trash out. Whatever you do in your own relationship, don't back down on supporting your son and his partner. If I were you, I'd be getting a divorce over this. Man, if that's not racist, I would hate to see what this guy considers racist. After you have been betrayed by the two most important people, husband 34, son 25, in your 47th life, how do you go on? I called and told him I knew everything and wanted him out of my fucking house by the time I returned. He didn't apologize or even denied, he just hung up on me. I texted going off and demanded him to confirm he'd leave and not be there when I came home. I never got a response from him, but my pathetic excuse for a son messaged and said they'd have his stuff out before I got back. I called him wanting to know how he could do this to me. I screamed and cried for I don't even know how long before he said, I'm sorry, I really am, but I love him. I ended up breaking my phone when he said it. I hurled it across the room and it smashed. I returned home to find all of his clothes gone and his wedding ring on the nightstands. I just don't understand how the two most important people in the world to me could do this. How do you do something like this to someone you claim to love? My son is always my only child, but now he's dead to me. I never want to see him again. I've been home for 2 days and just have cried, drank and slept. I know I need to see a divorce lawyer and therapist, but how do I find the strength to go on after this? I know when I tell people, my friends, my family, etc., I'll be humiliated. Hell, I don't even want to be in this house. It reminds me of them and what they did to me, but I literally haven't even had the strength to get dressed, let alone book a hotel and pack a bag. Can you call your friend that originally helped you with the camera? Is she the sort of person who could come over and help you and support you? Get a lawyer and start the divorce process so you can begin to move on as soon as possible. I am so sorry this happened to you. Find people you trust and lean on them for support. You don't need to be alone right now. You won't be humiliated, you have nothing to feel humiliated over. This situation is so bizarre, so unique, it's like getting hit by lightning, and the only people who deserve to feel humiliated are the Woody Allen you married and the son who betrayed you. I don't even know what to say except that I'm sorry that this is happening to you. I'm so sorry this has happened to you. It's really important to feel what you need, so cry, yell, sleep. You do need to get a lawyer to start divorce proceedings, but depending on your view of your son, have him removed as any beneficiary of estates/money payouts. Have your will changed to exclude him. Get a clean break from both of them so you can move forward. Hospitalized mother who took my cheating wife's side over mine now wants to see me. It's been over 7 months since I first posted on Reddit, and I honestly thought that it was it for me, as I didn't need any more advice. I had made my decisions and done what I said I would, but I got a phone call this morning that has dragged me back into the mire. If you want to read about my story, it's all on my profile under final update. Caught wife trying to cheat with friend from her iWatch. Edit, linker too long, didn't read. Of it is when I was putting my drunk wife to bed, I seen a message pop up on her iWatch from a friend of mine which sent me down the rabbit hole. I ended up walking away from my house that was to be left to me by my parents and severed my relationship with them as they took my wife's side over mine, while I wanted her out the house and my life, as I had no interest in reconciling. My mother tried to keep us together and thought she was seeing us through troubled waters, but I left the house and haven't spoken to them since. Until this morning. I have moved 15 miles away, changed my phone number, and am still in the process of divorcing my wife. She has completely ignored all the requests from my divorce lawyer to cooperate, which has hindered things. We're now in the process of putting in an application for deemed service, so she will be served officially, and if she continues to ignore, then I can proceed with a divorce without her input. Well, this morning while at work I got a phone call from my friend telling me that my dad was trying to get in touch as my mother is not well, and would it be okay if he gave him my number. I said okay, and my dad phoned to tell me mum is in hospital, she's stable but not great. Obviously I was shocked, and I've not heard my dad's voice for so long. It's the most emotional I've ever heard him. He told me my mum really wants to see me, so would I meet him at the hospital tonight and go in and see her with him. I said okay, and I've arranged to meet him outside the hospital. I ended up going home from work as I couldn't concentrate, and I'm climbing the walls here wondering if I've made the right decision. wondering if I'm about to get dragged back into this shit show that I walked away from. I've never felt so nervous in my life, and the lack of control I have over the situation has sent my mind spiraling in lots of different directions. I feel like I'm walking into a burning building blindfolded with no idea where the exits are. Why does she want to speak to me now? Has she had a change of heart? Unless she's also had a personality transplant while in there, I find that unlikely. Will my wife be there? I have no interest in ever seeing her again. I'm still angry about what transpired with them and the way they took my cheating wife's side over mine. I've been going back and forth in my head about going at all, but I will go. Was also thinking maybe seeing if she wanted to speak over the phone instead, but not sure if she would do that or even if she's well enough. I feel like the bad guy here and that I might have caused this from walking away. How would you handle this? Any advice would be appreciated. I remember your posts. I'm so sorry you had to go through that. It hit home for me because I had a spat with my only living parent about boundaries and life. It got to a point I was more than ready to disown him and move on. The only thing you need to focus on is what's right for you and what you want. Your parents made their choice. Now they can live with it. You can still see them, but you must make sure to keep your guard up. Don't let them manipulate you. Stay strong. I would call or text your dad back before the meeting time and tell him that if your ex is there or if she is even mentioned, you will leave immediately and block him. First of all, you stop feeling guilty at all. Easier said than done, but literally not a single thing in this your fault. Since this is a favor for your mother, I would recommend being firm with your requirements. If she hasn't changed her opinions, then refuse to talk about any of it. Tell your dad that if you're going to do this, then your wife cannot be anywhere near there. You cannot ask, you have to demand. If I were in your shoes, I would be pretty cautious, since it just looks like your mom is finally feeling guilty about her stupid ass decision, and you would be doing yourself a great disservice if you compromise on anything now. I don't have much else to say except good luck and hopefully it works out for you, man. You received no support from family in your worst hour, so just know that you shouldn't feel guilty for not supporting them now. Do what feels best. You should make sure your cheating ex isn't going to be there. You should let your parents know if you get there and you see any sign of her, you are leaving. Make that clear. Stick to your guns. You were betrayed by your wife and even worse, your parents. You're in an awful spot. Since you have the time to mull things over, you should consider what your boundaries are before you go, and maybe text them to your father in advance. Things like, if X is there, I will walk out. I will not discuss a reconciliation. I don't want to be guilted into staying with a cheater in order to keep a house, etc. It might help you retain a sense of control. It will give them forewarning that you might just walk back out of their lives at any point in the visit if they try to push things. If you think you'll be a little shaky after your visit, or in any way unsafe to drive, get a lift there and back. I hope things work out. I'm sure either way, you'll be glad to have given them a chance to redeem themselves. If they balls it up, you can live content in the knowledge that you gave them a shot.